Alrighty. So welcome back to These Guys Fitness. And here down in the basement I have brought in my second curl bar. So I got one with two 25s on it. And this one's got 25s and 5s. I think at one time I had like 3 10s on each side. And this is just so I can go to heavier weights and I don't have to sit there and keep moving around. So what I'll do is I'll warm up with the 30 pounders and do me some hammers. Can't touch this. Hammer time. Alright. So that gets me warmed up with the 30s. Then I'll switch over to those and kind of keep moving. I got my bench pad from UPR Tech. They donated that to me, which I appreciate, and I like the pad. Keeps me comfortable. So, social media update. Got some good comments on my, is it ego lifting or just insecurity post. Some really good ones. One guy really deep dived into it. So if you go to my Facebook, he left about, say, 5 or 6 paragraphs, which I think is a good read. And I may just copy and paste it and post it on both Facebook and on YouTube. But he pretty much hit it, nailed it pretty good on what was the real issues with the people that are going, oh, it's ego lifting. You had another one, oh, did that help your ego and make you feel better about yourself and impress your friends? But yeah, it did, thanks. Yeah, it sure did. You know, because you should do things to help your ego. You should do things to, you know, not only impress friends, but impress yourself. You should do things to make you feel better. I mean, that seemed kind of a, I don't know, stupid comment. I had another one, because he doesn't realize that us in the powerlifting circle kind of know each other. He goes, well, I know a guy your age that's bench 605. I said, I know him too. You know, Cole Carter, strong individual. Works out down in Springfield, Missouri. I hope to work out with him next time I'm in Missouri if I can link it up, you know. I said, yeah, he's a fantastic bencher. Extremely strong man. I guess that wasn't the response they were expecting. You know, most of us know each other. So when you're trying to make me feel bad because there's somebody out there that benches more than me, I know there's people out there that bench more than me. And what I bench has nothing to do with what you bench. So when you think it's like it's a personal attack on you, it's not. It's just I'm showing people what's possible if you keep at it. I'm trying to kill that narrative is, oh, I'm 40, I'm an old guy, I got to stop lifting. That's really when I turned it up. That's basically when I went from lots of exercises and high reps to heavier weights. It was pretty much when I turned 39. Not saying this is something you have to do, but don't think you're going to come at me and shame me because, you know, I've been doing it for 20 years. Pretty much I'm happy with doing it. All right, and then, well, you know, you're flabby. I said, okay, I'm either flabby or I'm on steroids. Make up your mind. Okay? I know I have some extra weight. Always have. All right, but I don't lift to look like Mr. Universe, and those that you do, more power to you, because that takes a lot of work. It surely does. But, you know, folks, I'm not going to go on gear to look that way. Although someday I may go on some sort of, you know, testosterone, you know, drugs, TRT or whatever the hell they call it. Because I understand my motivation and my energy levels is not what it used to be. And I try to control it up here and just force myself to work out. Instead of using a drug, but, you know, that might change. So here's 50 on the bar. Bar's probably 10, maybe 15. So 60 or 65 at the most. Like I said, there's have multiple bars. Allows me to go to another set. So I have lots of extra weights. You got lots of 25s. You got a whole bunch of 35s that I haven't used yet. So it's like, I'll bring the trap bar in next. So I'm probably gonna move that over, which I think I can. Might have to toss some stuff there to kind of clear that. And I'll use my trap bar there for shrugs and deadlifts. And what I'll do is I'll load them up with the 35s, which will bring it down lower. For you know, to get down a little bit deeper, because the trap bar does sit higher than a regular straight bar. I've been looking at Marketplace, kind of seeing, you know, that I want to pick up some extra bars. I see some that are decent price, but they're too far away. I've done some offers on things where, you know, they wanted so much for the weights, I gave them a counter offer. And so far they refused, which they're right, no big deal there. So on here, this one's 10 pounds more than that. And I had my boy bring it in from the field from me. Used to have these outside. And I got a lot of dumbbells to bring in from outside. So I'm going to bring most of those weights in there. I'm going to leave the 1-inch weights out there. But the Olympic weights sets, I'm going to bring those all in here. So I've got a couple more weights to bring in and make a little bit more room for everything. And just trying to get a certain schedule, as Michael says. You know, say, well, you know, make it this time, going to be this time. Well, what I'm doing is I'm trying to make sure I get the rest part down with not too much, but, you know, I got my, I would say a good solid 6 hours sleep. I'm getting up a few times, you know, Mother Nature calls, but it's better. But, you know, I used to do like a delivery in the morning, then come in, and I'm just coming home. You know, the sleep is more important than the extra income sometimes. Weekends, really concentrating on just getting relaxed and rested and having fun with the wife, but I need to get that a little bit more structured. And I mean, structures helps. Right now it's, basically I'm coming down here at about an hour before I have to leave for work and get my workout in. So I did one with the dumbbells. Those are 30 pounders. I got heavier ones here. I'm sure to have the pair down here too. And then we'll call that 65, and this is going to be 10 pounds more, so this is going to be 75. You know, here I'm doing sets of 10. My sets used to be sets of 15, and many, 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 many sets of them. So I think here's my 40s. Yep. I think this is a 40 also. Here we go. So I get my 40 set up here. And what I'm going to do is just kind of, that'll get lined up for the curls. I am going to want to utilize that for shoulder presses, which I think I'm going to do with dumbbells. When I bring the heavier ones in here, I've got 60s, 70s, and 80s outside. So those got to be brought in. And of course I get the bench. And we'll start using it also for squats. So all this stuff, trying to keep myself motivated. I do have a meet coming that I want to do December 6th. It's not necessarily that I do it. I've already qualified for the Arnold's. I'm going to see where I can get myself back into, get remotivated, get everything rolling again. So a lot of these are quick workouts, but even a short workout is better than no workout. And like I said, YouTube's, it's okay. I might do a live stream tomorrow just so I can shoot out some gift memberships. But it just kind of went back to where it was at, making me like $40 a month. Which I get, it's $40 I didn't have. Instagram's about 10 to 20 bucks a month. Facebook is when it's really turned it up. And I was looking at another guy that I follow, and he's been monetized longer than I have, and he's got about 50% more followers. He made a good amount of money in 6 months. And he'll say, well, that's all I made. Well, dude, I'll take that any day of the week. So I went and got verified on Facebook. Now, that's a cost to me. But it protects me from getting copies. Somebody tries to copy me. You're obviously going to see that the verification is not there on their channel. So if you don't see the verification on my name, that little blue asterisk, then it's not me. I did have one guy inform me about someone that was posing as me, and I got him reported. So there's that. So that's, I guess the advantage of that's about $15 a month. But as long as it's paying me a couple $100 a month, I'm fine with it. We'll see how long that lasts. So here I got the 40s here. Do another set of hammers. Whew. That felt good. So, light workout. Because I hadn't worked out for a little bit. I did that light bench workout yesterday, and by yesterday evening, I felt it. It was a good soreness. So I'm like, yeah, that's what we want to do. So there'll be more of this going on. Some workouts I might do, just not even video, but I'll let you know about them. But I'm going to try to keep myself more active, slowly build it up, and get back to where I was at. So hopefully by the end of the week, I should be in a full bench workout. By next week, I should be in a regular series. Even if I have to plan them down on paper, which I used to do, and it did help. So, a couple things. Don't believe everything you see on social media. I find most of it is misrepresented or just a straight out lie. Research first before you copy. And spend time taking care of yourself. The sky's not falling. Okay? Everything's going to be fine. There's always fluctuations. Take care of your health, sleep, nutrition, proper exercise, hydration. Just get in the gym and lift. Alrighty. Good evening and welcome to Meg Bean's Cottage Fitness. Been a while since I walked down here. I took basically a 2-week break. Couple reasons. It's good to take a break every now and then. About once a year, I try to do this. And it's to reevaluate where I'm going to be and what am I going to do with my lifting. And what I do is I take a good deep look into myself. What am I trying to accomplish? Where am I trying to go? What direction am I heading? And then I look at input I get from comments on my lifts, whether it be YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook, and conversations I have with people I run into either at work, or here with the family. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the concept of, you're old, should stop lifting heavy. And I'm not going to say it's right, wrong, or indifferent. You'll hear that from a lot of people directed towards, I think, once you hit 40. I've been hearing that phrase since I hit 40. You should stop lifting heavy. You're going to get hurt. There's no reason for you to do it. It's just ego lifting. And, for those of the people that have decided to stop lifting heavy and go with lighter weights, that's a good decision. Nothing wrong with that decision, especially if you've had injuries, and you don't want to have the repeat of injuries. That's a real concern. And so I'm never going to tell people, well, you stopped lifting heavy, you gave up, or any of that stuff. I said, you changed the way you're going to train. Because lifting lighter weights and doing higher reps is just as vigorous as what I do. And I do try to mix it up. But here is my thoughts on that. All right? And it's my sole opinion. Others may share it, others may not, and that's great. All right. I'm going to keep lifting heavy as long as I can. It's not ego lifting. It's being true to myself. Just because somebody lifts more than you does not make it an ego lift. And for you to sit there and take the time and type that out, oh, it's an ego lift. You just do your workout and be happy with it. Us posting heavier lifts is no judgment upon you. It's saying, hey, here's what we've accomplished. We still think this can be accomplished. And here's a few of us that can do it. I had one comment, well, I guess that helped your ego and made you feel good about yourself and impress your friends. Okay. What's wrong with helping your ego out? What's wrong with increasing your own self-worth? The better you feel about yourself, the better you can treat others. The people who treat other people poorly, in my opinion, really are not happy with themselves. It's not always the case, but I think there's a good portion of it. And wanting to feel better about yourself, what's wrong with that? I want everybody to feel better about themselves. I want people to be happy with who they are. And if they're not happy with where they're at right now, be encouraged and be motivated to make the steps to improve yourself, whatever that improvement might be. All right? And what's wrong with impressing other people? What's wrong with impressing that? Hey, here's somebody that still lifts heavy. What's wrong with that? I don't see anything wrong with it. I had a young man come up to me and just was telling me how encouraged he is to keep lifting because when he sees me lift. He's not trying to lift what I lift, but he's going in the gym. Probably more often than he would. What's wrong with that? So yes, I am impressed upon him that working out is good for you. What's wrong with that? So when I see these people, and a lot of them are just trolls, and I understand, but some people really truly think that this is something that they should put down. Oh, you're just an ego lift. No, it's a lift. It's a lift that I did. It's a lift that I didn't have to have help. You know, it's a lift that I do generally about every week for the last 20 years. Not an ego lift. I will call it a maintaining lift. So that's my thought about ego lifting. About lifting heavy, that's a personal decision. I mean, I literally had my wife say, well, you know, I think you should start lifting lighter. And I'm sure she's been reading the comments on my Facebook because she follows it. And probably even did a little bit of research because she'll do that. And I told her, I said, you know, I don't disagree with you, but it's not me. All right, so I'm going to continue to lift heavy. Now, I am throwing in high reps every now and then. And I'm going to continue to do that, but no, I'm still going to go after the heavy lift. So, I mean, it's getting almost November, and that's where I'm going to kick it into high gear to get it trained for early December. So that's where I am with that. So as motivation ebbs and flows. Last 2 weeks, I wasn't very motivated. My energy has been low. I've been probably sleeping too much and doing too little, in my opinion. Even though I'm probably more active than some, for me, I'm not. So I had to have that conversation with myself and say, you know, it's time to step it back up on the game. And it's time to stop making it a point, you know, oh my God, it's after 8 o'clock, I gotta leave in about an hour, I might as well just sit back and relax and don't even worry about this. I've been finding myself doing that. So it basically is gonna be, I'm going to force myself into the gym, whether it's down here or whether it's in town, and do some exercises, regardless how tired I feel. I know when I come home, I'm tired from work. And then I'm just sluggish when I get up because I'm not doing what I know to do. Go for the walk, get the sun, get moving, get down here, start pumping some weight, start getting the blood moving. It's the old adage, you know, object at rest tends to stay at rest, and I've been at rest, so I got to stop doing that. Object in motion tends to stay in motion, so I got to start doing more of the motion. So this is where I ended up last time I lifted, and didn't email to put it up. Number one, because I haven't lifted in a while, and I've dropped some body weight. And all those things are going to affect you. So what do you do about it? Well, you go back to your training. And I know what my training is. You know, my training is to start with the lighter weights, and then start building it up. I think I've been pushing this back. So that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, those don't sound like styrofoam weights, do they? When people say, well, why don't you show a whole video of you loading and unloading things? That's what YouTube's for. All right? Nobody is really going to watch a long video on Facebook. And I don't think you even have the ability to do it on Instagram. Now, I will upload this on Facebook and see what happens. It'll take a while. But it's time to get back into it. I can feel my joints feel better. I can feel there's no pain or any funny feelings anywhere. So it was good that I did take the time off and get all nice and rested. Now when people say, well, don't hold your head up when you're benching, I don't understand that part. They say, well, I could hurt your neck. I don't see it. So, when you're calling out people with the ego lift and that, you're not judging them, you're judging yourself. You're looking at yourself going, well, why can't I do that? And there's no reason why you have to. No one's saying you have to do what I do. No one's saying you have to do what Michael does at the Body Beatdown. Nobody says you have to do what Old School Fitness is doing. Or LCK Fitness. Or any of us other ones. We're doing what's good for us. And we do motivate each other and other people to keep exercising. To me, that's a win-win. That's a good thing all around. So when I see these comments, and sometimes I choose to respond to them, not bad, but you know, I throw, here's my records. So yeah, I do it for recognition. I want to be a world-class lifter. It didn't start out being that goal. I came on to it by accident. You know, all of a sudden I get a text, you know, yeah, Brian just broke your world record at the last meet. My response was, I had a world record? I didn't know that. How much did he beat it by? 5 pounds, all right. So the next meet, I beat it. And we went back and forth for a few meets, and it was very motivating to have somebody at your same age and weight group, you know, push it. We worked out together. We had a lot of fun with our workouts, our challenges, and that had a little, you know, humor going on with it and things like that. I've got to work out with Huck Finn, probably the strongest 242-pound bencher I know. I've got to compete with the Little Briggs, you know, Ernie and his dad and his brother. I got to compete with Dan Bell. I mean, he's top line name. You know, got to speak with him a few times, even interviewed him once. But I mean, I've lifted at some of the same events he's lifted at. Obviously, I'm not in his weight class or strength, but he's an amazing person to watch. You know, Jimmy Ray came down from Wisconsin, worked out with me. One of the very few people over 60 that has benched 500 pounds in a competition. Doing it in a gym and doing it in a competition are two different animals. Trust me. You know, I've got to talk over the internet back and forth with the Stolman brothers. You know, world's strongest man. You know, and we're not close friends in that, but you know, he would know my name. And I've got to, you know, see them at the Arnold's. I believe last year they were out there. I have met Jay Cutler. Yeah, you know, and I've met Brian Shaw. Had a quick conversation with them. Both fine men. Got to get a picture with Bob Goldberg at the last Arnold, which was kind of, it happened. You know, there was a line for it and I won't wait in a line to get a picture with people. Generally, I've done it. I did it for Jay Cutler and I did it for Brian Shaw, but I got there early. But I did a loop. There was like 30 people in line, and I came back about an hour later, and there was no one in line. They were still there. So I walked up. I said, well, either my timing's good, or you guys have stopped taking pictures. And the young man there, very nice young man, said, yeah, we've stopped. So no big deal. So I just did the old, you know, pull up and hand him in the background. You know, I did that picture. And he goes, no, if you want, he goes, come on in. I said, well, I don't want to get anybody in trouble. He goes, no, come on in. So that's how I got my picture with Bob Goldberg. He was kind of humorous. I said, yeah, my buddy Vince said you're a great guy. He's like, I don't believe everything you hear, you know, in good humor. But, you know, that's why I got the picture with him. And I really appreciate the young man that, you know, allowed me to walk in there because, you know, they didn't have to. When they said they were closed, I accepted it. So that was nice. So, eagle lifting, you know, we do what we want to do. I was at a party 20 years ago, and we're all friends, people I knew. And the one was saying, well, yeah, he goes to the gym, and there's some of these people that are ridiculous. You know, they've got like 3 plates on each side, and there's just no reason to lift that much. And of course, one buddy kind of instigator. He's seen his opportunity. He goes, "Oh, John, how many plates do you have on each side?" I said, "Well, usually when I finish up, I have 4 on each side." And the other guy's wife's like, "Well, that's just ridiculous. There's no reason to do it." I said, "There's no reason for you. Obviously, there's a reason for me to do it. And it's my own reason. And just because your husband can, doesn't make him any less of a person. And just because I can, doesn't make me any more of a person. It just makes me a person that lifts 405. So when you see people do that, because I see people mention 500, 600 pounds, 700 pounds, raw. It's just amazing when I see that. And that's what I tell them. I say, "God, I'm so glad I got to see that." I don't say it's ego lifting because you're lifting more than me. It's like, you're supposed to be an adult if you're in the fitness industry. And when I see people that I can tell probably do some workouts say that, I'm like, I'm sorry that you haven't been in a hardcore gym. Don't have to be. But anyone in a hardcore gym would laugh at that comment. Now this is not even really count as a workout because of the light weight, but what does it count as a recommitment to get back into it? Everybody that's probably wondering, kind of went off the map. I was posting a lot of older videos just to keep the activity going. 45-pound weights. I painted them green and yellow because those are the paints I decided to buy. And those were my high school colors. Providence Celtics. Woo! And then somebody reminded me there's somebody else's colors too. And I'm like, okay, do I paint over them and paint them blue as they should be? And I may do that if I decide to get the energy, but I will probably pick up some more plates and either buy them as blue plates. Because I do plan on expanding what I do here. So I'm going to bring my trap bar in. It'll probably go over there. Got another curl bar that needs to come in. I'll tell my boy to grab that. And some more dumbbells to bring back inside. So this whole area I will convert into my mini gym. So today is just a quick light workout just to say, I'm back into it. I've been playing around too long. Now it's time to get back into it. Tomorrow I'll probably do a heavier session. And probably around 3 in the afternoon. Just come down here to start lifting. And I think when I do that, I'm going to play around with wide grip and close grip and do a lot of variations, of that. And then probably towards the end of the week, I'll get in the gym and knock out some inclines and start pushing the inclines back up. Just got to get more motivated. I had 2 things I could have done yesterday, and I missed out on both of them just because I was unmotivated. And I said, I gotta stop doing that. So this is even to the motivated person. You have to have conversations and kind of a get it going type things. And sometimes it's something you just call some people, the right people. If I talk to Vince Robbins at Shore Fitness, he'll get me motivated. Or Josh or Michael, they'll say, let's get back in there, get it going. So those of you that actually lift light, that's nice. I ain't saying you're wrong, and if it's right for you, it's right for you. And I do start out light, that's how I warm up. But for those of you who say it's ego lifting in that, it's not. It's me being me. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I appreciate the comment, that's fine, but when you make that comment, Are you really talking about me, or are you talking about yourself? Because I think you're talking about yourself. I think you see something that's making you feel bad, and it shouldn't. Really shouldn't. It's not what these lifts are about. Lifts are about me staying at the world-class stage and wanting to kick it to the next level. And that's where I'm at. I think I got one more big push in me for December, and then again in March. And then after that, yeah, I might change some things. I might go to, reps. I might go get some blood work done, see where my testosterone levels are, because I know the motivation and I've been kind of groggy. It is because of that, I've been lethargic because of that, or because of this. So those are things that you all, have to ask yourself. But right now, I'm not on any of that stuff. I try to do it just by willpower and lots of food. And I'll keep doing it that way as long as I can. But yeah, there might be a time that I have to go on some sort of, regimen to keep the testosterone up. But I will get some doctor's advice on that first. It's just something I personal preference I stay away from. As for the other stuff, I just stay away from it. There's no need for it. All right. So people say, oh, you're on gear. I'm not on gear. I ain't got the time or money for it. And yeah, I really look like I am. Some people say stupid things. All right, 25. This is probably the end of the light workout. And like I said, it's kind of my pre-workout to really get back into it tomorrow. Been away from it too long, even though it was helpful. But now it's going to be some more of those. So remember, rest, nutrition, proper exercise, hydration, and just get in the gym and lift. Alrighty. Good evening, and welcome back to Beans Guys Fitness. And today is my Wednesday, but it's Tuesday evening. Then we're going to play around with the bench a little bit before I head to work. Today's topic is going to be kind of when life deals you disappointments or challenges. Sometimes it can be both. And how people can either deal with it, ignore it, or let it affect them in a negative way. And it's always going to be the individual in charge and how that direction goes. So I'm a firm believer that a true test of character is during times of stress. You will learn more about people in times of stress than you will during other times. Because how they act in times of stressful events, in my opinion, is a true measure of who they are and what they are. So, times of stress, there's different things I have observed. I've seen people that have totally just folded. The stress just totally just shut them down. And their way of dealing with it is not dealing with it. Their way of dealing with it is avoidance, is ignoring, is shutting away, moving away from it, not dealing with the problem. Trying to make an excuse why the problem's there and convincing yourself why you can't deal with that problem. And you will believe anything you tell yourself if you say it enough times, especially if you will find an echo chamber, as I call them, that will also tell you that those things are correct. So we'll deal with the echo chamber. The echo chamber is you go to a group, whether it's in person, whether it's online, whether it's through direct voice contact or text, that will echo back your sentiment. Will say, oh yes, you're right. And that will help cement your decision on whatever it's doing. Now this can be, the echo chamber can be a positive thing, but I think a lot of times it's used for negative things. So if you say, I can't deal with something because it's just too much, and you go to a place where they say, oh my God, that's just too much, you're gonna believe it, and you won't deal with it. The problem is, when you don't deal with problems, they, even if they go away, the effect doesn't. All right, there's still a residual effect. And then you have the other ones who will blame the problem on somebody else, even though the problem started with you. You're going to blame it on somebody else, whether it's a family member, whether it's a parent, whether it's someone outside, you know, a teacher, police, law, boss, or whatever. You're going to blame an external force. And once again, it's just another form of avoidance. Not saying that sometimes things aren't caused by external forces, because they are. But I'm just saying, here's how some people deal with pressure when they get pressure, whether it's financial pressure, whether it's relationship pressure, whether it's just, you know, work pressure, whether it's just dealing with life in general pressure. We all have it, and we all deal with it in different degrees. As I've gotten older, I've tried to mature on this thought. And my way of dealing with things was to, in the most part, try to tackle it head on. You know, other times when you just want it to go away, yeah, absolutely, we all felt that way. But realizing it's not going to go away, and there's some point you have to act on it. You know, if you're not happy with the shape you're in, start lifting weights, start going for walks, start running, start doing yoga, start eating healthier. Okay. If you're unhappy with a job, then find another job. You know, or if you're unhappy with your position in the job, find a different position, or deal with it. Sometimes you have to deal with it. And I'm trying to understand some things that have been happening in my life and why they happen. And I'm trying to figure what the solution is. Sometimes you can't find a solution because there's external pressures that you can't get a hold of or find out about. So if you're trying to help somebody, you can only help them to a certain point by the information they're giving you. And even when you see that they're making a bad decision, even when you see that they're falling into this trap, if they're not going to listen to you, you're just kind of, you can tell when you're talking to somebody and they shut you off. Yeah, you're trying to give them helpful advice, and you're looking at them going, they ain't listening to you anymore. Or they're listening to find something for a rebuttal, or they're just waiting for you to finish your speech. At that point, you're not going to be able to help them. And it's frustrating. I'm sure we all go through with it. So what I'm going to talk about is something that you have 100% control of, and that's yourself. So if you're having an issue, you need to learn how to deal with it. You need to learn how to come out of it stronger than before. So if, for example, you're thinking, wow, I'm not really hitting the gym like I should be, you can either make excuses. I'm getting older, you know, I'm busier, you know, I just haven't been feeling like it, you know, my energy's low, I got these external pressures, you know, or you can lift. And this can be applied to other things too. not just lifting weights. It can be furthering your education. It can be learning a new skill. It could be bettering yourself, fixing part of a relationship. You know, and sometimes you just need to just get active. The worst thing you can be is inactive. Worst thing you do is just stop trying. I've seen it where they've just stopped trying, where they just shut down, where they no longer will look for a solution. And it's frustrating when you see that happen to somebody that you know and love. I personally lost a friend that did that once his wife had passed away. He gave up on living, and there's nothing that I could do, there's nothing that his other friends could do, there's nothing that his kids could do. It was basically it was a very tough year until he finally passed away, because he gave up on life. So what I can say is, as frustrated as it can be when you see it happen to others, you have to make sure it don't happen to yourself. You have to get to the point where saying, I'm going to learn from my observances, and even though I can't change the world, I can change me. I can make myself better. I can make myself healthier. I can make myself stronger, faster, more knowledgeable. I can make myself happier. I just have to find a path and get on that path. And we should always be on a path, my opinion. We should always be striving for that next adventure, for the new adventure, for something to look forward to. Whether it's Tuesday and you're looking forward to, Friday night, taking the wife and going out and seeing a band, you like, or you're thinking, okay, what am I going to do come this holiday? Where do we want to go? Summer vacation. Where do we want to go to summer vacation? What is our plans so we can sit there and take the steps to book the rooms, to put away the money, make sure the car's maintenanced, so we can go out and do that. It gives you things to look forward to. All right? And those are the positive things, and those what make life happier. Now, the negative things can also need to be dealt with. All right? This repair needs to be done in the house. How am I going to get it done? What is going to be expenditure, and what do I need to do to cover that cost? So does it mean that I sit there and I work, an extra 12 hours overtime for the next couple of weeks to earn that money to cover that repair bill? If that's the case, that's what I do, or maybe I do a couple more deliveries, maybe put out a few more videos, making plans. And sometimes you have to write these plans down, or type them in or whatever, so there's a visual thing to remember. I remember when I worked out, when I was really into it, I wrote down every exercise I was going to do for the whole week, and what weights and how many reps, and it was a science. I spent a good half hour writing out my workout for the week, and then went and did it. It was very effective. I had a lot of energy. I showed huge results. And I did that for a very long time, to the point where I got well, I know how to work out. I don't need to sit there and write it down as much. I don't need to have that, process. I can just get in the gym and lift which is my thing, just get in the gym and lift. Well, I think I may go back to that process. And why will I go back to that process? Because I'm not happy with the amount of effort I'm putting into it. And that's the one person I have to make happy. And if I'm not happy with the amount of effort I'm putting into it, I can, either accept it and stop and start putting as much effort and put less effort in, and then wonder why I'm not getting the same results, wonder why I don't look the same, wonder why I'm not lifting the same weights, and I can blame age, and I can blame all these things. Or I can remember, hey, this used to work for me, and go back to it and see if that'll be the kick I need. Always making a plan. Always having a plan. Always looking for another way to make money. So there's a new app out there. It's called School. And I got an invite for it. I've been doing some research on it. And basically it's a class-based website that you can become a creator on. And of course, they're making it sound really good. Yet, as a creator, I can make a lot of money. All I have to do is just attract all these people to my classes and hold this on there. And you can start out for free for 2 weeks, and then after that, it's $99 a month. Well, I'm looking at it going, first of all, is it a good premise? Does it make sense? So that's the first thing. Now what I'm going to do with here is I'm going to try different grips with the same weight. So I'm going in tighter. I'll do different variations of tighter and wider, and then maybe go and up weight a little bit tonight. So is it a good premise? It sounds like a good premise. Do I have the subject that will draw it in? So they're advertising people are teaching math, teaching science, teaching history, teaching writing, all these things where they too have to pay to be on there. So I have people that want me to train them online, or they want advice online. I'm saying, well, I need more information from you. I need to know where you're at. I need to know what your goals are. I need to know what is your ability to work out and where you're working out. And are you going to make a commitment to this? Because I've had a lot of people sit there and start with me, and after the third month, well, they're not doing any of the lifting. They keep, I missed it because of this. I missed it because of that. After 3 months of going, you probably should just stop paying me, because you're not going into the gym, and that's the problem with being online, because you're not really there to push them into the gym. It takes a commitment. Sometimes the commitment is because they're paying money, but that's not always it. So I'm looking at this school and seeing as a premise. So, can I attract enough people? Well, I've got a big following here. 14,000. I got almost 24,000 on Instagram. I've got over 10,000 on Facebook. And each media pays me money per month. Some are much better than others, and it varies. They trade places. So if I get some of those people to come over to the school app, could it be a good moneymaker? It could be, but now I've got to donate the time to justify those people coming over here. So that means I would have to be putting out videos. I would have to have a workout one every week. It would have to be edited. It would have to look more presentable than what I do right now. That means I'm putting a lot of time into it. So is it a good thing for me right now? Maybe not, because you need to put the time in there to do it right from the get-go, because if you don't do it right from the get-go, it's really never going to take off. So, for example, I was looking for an appliance place that used to be pretty smart about things, and I started selling on eBay as to that appliance store. and I was getting a lot of closeouts from major manufacturers that I could sell at a significant discount. I mean, like half of what you would normally pay, because they were a discontinued model, but they were still doing the box. And then I was able to attach kitchens to a lot of these. So I was really making a good business on it, where I'd be up until 11 o'clock at night on the computer selling, besides my regular job. And this was from a regular job. Margin was high, so the company was making good money. And I started picking up contractors from different states: Colorado, New York, Florida, Georgia, Missouri, where they were buying the high-end kitchens from me, and I was shipping them to them. And because of the deals we had, it was still better than them buying locally. Back then, you could make good money selling big screen TVs. You can't anymore. But it was going really well for a solid year. I was doing huge business. I was building up the clientele. And then for whatever reason, the company I was working for decided they didn't want me doing that anymore. So they gave it to an IT guy who did absolutely nothing with it. Zero. And I think they were jealous I was making a good living. Of course, they were making a much better living off of me, but that's where jealousy comes in. So after a year of letting that momentum drop to nothing, they came back to me and said, well, we kind of made a mistake. We want you to take it back over and see if you can get it going again. I just told them, that ship has sailed. All right, the damage has been done. There's no way of getting that momentum back. It's not going to happen. It's almost like a sequel of a bad movie. It doesn't do you any better. And I shut the place down, and I went and found different employment, because I understood I was working for the wrong people. But if you are going to set something on the line, especially one that you're going to have to pay, you want to be able to put the time into it. So right now I'm thinking it's probably not the right one for me at this time. When I retire, different story. I'm going to go up with a wide grip here. That's how I used to pitch. That's how I used to pitch out here. That used to be my grip. And I put up 480 like that. Then I had a pec tear, and I started bringing my grip in. And it's been that way for a while. So what I want to do is I want to vary my grip placement on there. So when you have issues, you can either avoid them, you can make excuses, you can blame others, or you can take 100% of it upon yourself and find a solution. I got a friend online who has severe depression, and he deals with it. He deals with it with his activities, with lifting weights, with getting up in the morning and riding his bicycle, for doing movies at night. Currently he's doing Halloween type movies, spooky movies, funny ones. Constantly doing positive things to deal with his depression on it. So he's taking 100% upon himself to get it corrected. Not blaming somebody else. He's not trying to ignore it, because it's a real thing. But what he's doing is he's taking steps to combat it, and his steps are making him a much more healthier person and motivating person. He motivates me. He's one of the reasons that I'll probably keep working out, because as long as he's doing it, I got to do it. And to me, he's the one that's taking the correct steps to deal with it. Not that he doesn't have bad days, because he does, we all do. But he's constantly still pushing it. He's constantly getting out there, trying new things. living is what I call it. He's living out there. I mean, here's a guy who could easily just sit there and, you know, box himself in a room and blame the world and justify himself for doing it, but he doesn't. He gets out there and he takes ownership of his condition. He doesn't pretend it's not there. He understands it's there, and he takes steps. So I try to do the same thing with myself. Not perfect, but I know I feel better when I lift. And if I don't lift, I get depressed at myself, and I blame myself. So the solution is lift. Just get in the gym and lift. Stop making excuses. Stop being inactive. You know, it's not like all of a sudden one day, I'm going to work out for 3 hours, you know, but it is, you know, add 5 minutes to my workout every day until maybe I get to that point. I don't know if it'd be 3 hours, but I used to do that, you know, and the results were fantastic. I'd like to get back to that. I've been looking at supplements, you know, and supplements, you know, such as to kick up your testosterone or your HGH and that. But the thing of it is I look at the side effects, and I'm still not comfortable with the side effects. It just, it tells you, well, here's what it is, a positive thing you can do, but, you know, then you read it, you know, kidney failure, liver failure, prostate, you know, problems, your posturate, digestive, you know, it just, I'm looking at it, okay, what is my goal? My goal is not to be Mr. Olympia. My goal is not to be Mr. Bodybuilder. My goal is to stay strong and compete. So, even though I have researched it, and if you do take such products in that, I'm not judging. You know, you're an adult, make adult decisions. Just I'm not quite there yet. I did do a lot of research on it for the last 2 weeks, and I've just come to the conclusion that I still don't want to take that step. And that's my decision. So I'm going to keep pushing it, varying my exercises, varying my lifting, you know, how I lift things and that, and go from there. So that was a wide grip. Now I'm going to go with a pretty narrow grip. And you got to make sure that you're not too narrow, because the more narrow, the more it goes to the triceps and away from the pecs. Now when I benched on, what would have been my Monday, it would have been Sunday night, boy was I sore that night. But it was a good sore. It was one of those, yes, I'm getting back into it. You know, it felt good. It motivated me to get back into it. I did the curls yesterday. I had my son bring in the other bar. And when I think about it, I'm going to have to bring more and more stuff in and kind of get my weights in. Today I got a good 7 hours sleep. Interrupted slightly by the cat. Doesn't like me to sleep that soundly, I guess, and kept wanting to pet me and get up, daddy, and so that kind of broke into my sleep pattern just a little bit. Old Bink's not going to have to get an understanding of that, especially as it gets colder. And she'll be spending more time in the house. But otherwise, I got 275 up here now. And each workout I'm going to keep going up in weights. Because 225 is where I stopped last time, so I'll stop here at 275. Probably have another on Friday, which my plan will be go to 315. And we'll go on from there. Now it's going to be one of the longer videos. This one will take a while to upload. And I won't upload it until I get to work, because I don't think I'm going to have time to get it uploaded before I head out. I hate to start an upload and then it gets interrupted, and it gets to be all sorts of fun. So this will be my one to do when I get to work. I should have a running furnace by then, and so it should be an easy day. It'll be interesting how the rest of the week goes, whether they want me to work overtime or not. Last time I worked overtime was because of the furnace. I got 275. Same thing, I want to do rubber grip, wide grip, inner grip would be what I want to do. And it's going to engage different parts of the muscle. Give me some chalk. So don't slip out of me. It's starting to feel a little slick. Now, we'll start the regular grip here. Things right inside the lines. And then I'll do a wide grip, and I'll do an inner grip. And then it'll probably be time to start thinking about getting ready to go to work. So it looks like Friday we might be taking a trip up towards Chicago again to see a band we like. And I think Sunday is the Veterans Day Parade. And should be fun. I really won't be able to drink because I got to work that evening. But I think I'll be able to handle that. Just have to, I guess, sleep in late. Then we're back to the grind again. Fun, fun, fun. So that was regular grip. Next grip will be out here. It's going to take it more to the delts and pecs. And then the inner grip will take it more into the triceps. And that way I'm getting like kind of 3 different variations on it. I do want to start getting back to the regular gym so I can do some, get in the fly machine and things like that. So we're out here, wide grip. Woo! And it definitely feels different. I haven't benched that way in a long time. So I can really feel it working the muscles at a different angle. So I guess the moral of the story is it's natural to have life throw challenges at you. It's natural to feel overwhelmed. You know, it's natural to feel like sometimes things ain't fair, but what you need to do is you need to take ownership of it. And you need to sit there and find solutions. What's happening way too often is I see in the younger generation is either they come upon us on their own, or they get this advice from a therapist saying, you know, mommy and daddy were at fault. And sometimes they are, but I'm thinking probably in about 80% of these cases, they're not. And I think as a therapist, you're weak if you go there right away. I think as a therapist, you're doing a disservice to the family unit, whether this is something you're doing on purpose, because you either A, want to make sure they keep coming to you, and so you're saying what you think is a popular thing, or B, you have some sort of power trip and seeing just how much control you can put over on a person. I think sometimes they're doing that on a subconscious level. And then there are going to be times when, yeah, you know, you get an abusive parent or two, and absolutely. But that's not what my research is showing. That's not what I'm seeing out there. I'm seeing is, you know, mom or dad said no on something, so I threw a fit. Now I got somebody saying, oh yeah, the reason that, you know, you're a mad adult because of your parents. No, it's because of you. Take ownership of it. And if you sit there and if you distance yourself from your parents because you can't accept something that you did, well, shame on you. You know, the reason it's in the Bible, honor your mother and father, is there for a reason. So I'm seeing too much of that out there, and I'm seeing it being supported out there. And there is no support for it. Not in my opinion. I think you need to sit there and learn from your mistakes. We all make mistakes. We all go left when we should have went right. You know, we all didn't move forward when we should have, or didn't move back when we should have. You know, and you can look back there with regret, or you can learn back there and say, okay, I've learned from that, and I won't make that same mistake again. And that's how you grow, and that's how you mature, is you learn from the errors that you've made, because we've all made errors. And if you never made errors, it means you never took risk. But sometimes we made errors because of misinformation, because of fear, because of indifference, you know, and you just gotta look back and say, okay, I don't want to be that person in that situation. Next time it happens up, and I'm going to react to it in a more productive manner. And then go on from there. Give me your thoughts on whether I should do the school app or not. And I wait till this late in the video to do so, because it's going to be my core subscribers that will listen to the video this long. And those are the ones the opinions that really matter to me. So, you know, I know my, you know, Christopher and Michael and Larry and Mark and Kevin and a few others will probably listen to it all the way through. And it's hard to, because I know I've probably been yakking for at least 20 minutes. But usually that's why I put the important questions towards the end, because I know I'm getting somebody that really follows me out the one to just click on, hey, that was pretty cool, click on the next video, click on the next. And, you know, tell me if this school app is something I should do. Right now, I don't think I've got the time and the energy to take it on and keep the other things going. But if I can figure some way of getting everything organized, maybe build up a couple of these sessions, you know, that I can sit there and download and get things going. Because if it's not turning, you know, at least, you know, $300 a month, there's no reason for me to be spending $100. And I think what's going to happen is, I think the app is going to make good money. I think initially you're going to get a lot of people, but I think there's only going to be like 5 out of 100 that make money. And the other ones are just contributing to the app. That's just my thought on it. But, and then once again, if everybody really starts getting successful, at what point they start, you know, they start getting greedy. YouTube has done it. They pay about 1/3 what they used to 5 years ago. Instagram has done it. They pay like 1/10 what they used to. You know, Facebook is paying pretty good right now. We'll see what happens later on. I anticipate in a couple months that they won't be paying as much, just because they're going to follow everybody else. All right, so I had the regular grip, the outer grip, and I'll do the inner grip. I'm doing little roughs because I took 2 weeks off, so I don't want to get so sore that I can't do anything. So tell me what you think about the video. I know I might not have been as laser focused on it as I could have been. And always remember, rest, nutrition, proper exercise, hydration, just get in the gym and lift. Start the regular grip here. It's right inside the lines. No. So we're out here, wide grip. Follow everybody else. All right, so I had the regular grip, the outer grip, now I'll do the inner grip. All righty, good evening. Welcome to the machine. Welcome, make beats fast, isn't it? We got 2 1/4 up here, and I'm just gonna use it to warm up before I head up to more weight. Want some of my dumbbells down. You can see those on Saturday. And I think we'll try to do that again. Not this Saturday, but next Saturday I'll be traveling. But I did a live stream that. I thought it was very successful for once. And today I'm just going to do some quick warm-ups and try to see how heavy I can push. Just to do something different. All right, hit 2 1/4 on there. Only popped up 275. This is as heavy as I've looked for a couple weeks now. But now I'm going to jump up to 315. Now whether they're silver, green, yellow, or black, or silver again, these are all 45-pound weights. And you can tell by the sound, they're not styrofoam. Now, I'll probably make that a short video just to put on my YouTube channel for all you little trolls. They get your butt hurt if they lift more than you. Alright, so 315, haven't done this in a while. And I'm not even going to call this really a full workout. But I wanted to get some lifting in before I go to work. Alright, now we'll jump up to 365. And this is when I will implement my spotter. I really want to see if I can still do 405 after taking 2 weeks off of it. Okay, so it's been a while. Here's 365. tell it's been a while. Those reps at the lighter weights are good, but every now and then you gotta still make sure you're hitting the heavy weight. Alrighty, so 405. Haven't done this for a couple of weeks, so we'll see what happens. Good habit. Alrighty.
That was close.
It was. So, one of the things when you start to go for a lot of reps, this can happen. And that's all right, because now I know where I need to work back at it. And then my spotter didn't just take it away from me, he made me earn it. And that's how you want to do that rep. You don't want to just grab. I got stuck, I didn't fail. So, my goal is to get 405 pack in 2 weeks. Muscle memory shouldn't be a problem. And you never know where your limit is until you try it. And if you're going to do that, obviously try it with a spotter. So, Michael, when you decided that 415 was a no-go, absolutely, because he had safety bars, but he didn't have a spotter. So the advantage of having a spotter is you can try for weights that you may not feel you are ready for. I think I was good for about 385. Been concentrating on reps, which is great for definition, but you start to lose your strength. The only way to stay at top strength is to lift that top weight. Remember, rest, nutrition, proper exercise, hydration, just get in the gym and lift. Next, that's what me yelled at. Never change out of the chamber?
Hey, I hear you.
No.
Okay. 44 Magnum Golden Boy. This is what I want to get.
It's over here. Yeah. Is it full?
Nah.
So like yeah. It'll
get real tight, even though I gotta. Yeah, the mag. Right, it's not holding it up there. I need loop too on that fucking. I got split.
Fuck, I'm done more than that. Unless you guys pain in the ass.
Yeah, it worked.
Go for it.
Really no goal here. Just bump some weight. Yeah, easy set at 10.
I think that too. I'm like, okay, what's going on? Shit.
That's a lift.
Hey, you got it.
Woo. Yep, that was right, buddy. Woo.
Come on. Come on. Press. Easy. Easy.
All right, WAP, getting ready for it. It's going to be the 275-pound class. I'll probably be about 260 when I compete, or 257 now. So I was only going to go up to 475 alive. I got 480 here. It'll be a touch and go. Won't be a pause. Come on. That sounds good.
Go, John.
Alrighty. So 315. This is kind of my litmus test on how I'm feeling. Depending on how this lift goes, if it feels really heavy, if it feels medium, light. Kind of just give me an idea how heavy I'll go today. Every day is a little different. I felt about normal. Might play around and open up the grip a little bit and see how that feels. So in this rep, I'm going to open up the grip just a little bit, not much. See how it feels. Sometimes you gotta play around with it. Yes, you can roll the bar up even when you got 315 folks. Yep, it's different. I think inner still a better grip for me. And now we'll go up to 365. And we'll see how that feels. I can't drive. 365. My car don't go that fast. Alright, 365. So this is why I like to bring a spotter in. Sometimes at 315 too, but I didn't feel it was necessary this time. And let's see how it rolls. Yeah. lemon squeezy. So let's put 405 out there. And try not to trip. Boy, these styrofoam weights are sure heavy. Alrighty. Alright, so we got 405.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, how'd we go backwards? How'd that happen?
I don't know.
Oh, let's not do that again. Alright, 405's in the books. We'll probably do it again, or I'll slap a little bit more weight on. Alright, so I'm just doing some warm-ups. I've done a couple at 225. This will be at 275. And we'll see how many I do. The whole idea, I'm just getting my body ready for the next heavyweight that's coming. And I'm going to make this a pretty much, let's get up to the heavyweights right away and save as much energy as possible. And then I'll eat afterwards, maybe enjoy the evening a little bit. I think it's a little after 6 o'clock right now. All right, 415.
You got it. There you go.
I'll take it, 415, and I am down to 242. So I've dropped 8 pounds, mostly because of overtime. Not because I wanted to.
You going up anymore? Or you think
No, not as heavy as I'm going to go.
Alright.
Actually, I'll probably,
You gonna
let's drop it down to 315. And I'll just do my burnout and call it a day. And hopefully don't leave the camera on the whole time. Like I did last time. Alright, time for a little burnout. 315. This is more of an endurance thing than it is a strength thing, to be honest with you. Yeah. 8, not so great, but I'll take it. Remember, rest, nutrition, proper exercise, hydration, just get in the gym and lift.